Bim! Guess what? It's just gone 7 minutes past 8 on Saturday, the 23rd of the 12th, 23. So it's 23/12/23. How kills that? It's Christmas Eve Eve. What are you doing? The cat's getting very excited for some reason. She always gets excited when I come in here. I don't know what a week that was. Maybe she's just interested in the news. Who knews? Who knew that the cats were interested in the news? So let's have a quick look at the breaking news. So the London Underground and Crossrail schemes that have been shelved since 2000. That's not exactly breaking news, is it? Britain set for snow bomb. Britain set for what? Snow bomb lasting 15 days as polar vortex sweeps country. Well, it's certainly not cold at the minute, but it's definitely windy and it's definitely wet as well. Tesco, Asda, Morrisons and Sainsbury's warnings as cans of drink and frozen food pulled from sale, but it doesn't tell you who or what. Transformation of former Landudno M&S store backed as footfall slumps in town's high street. It's happening all over the place, as we know. Oh, clicked on it. Oh no, I didn't mean to click on it. Oh no, I don't like clicking on it. Extension is only hope for Nottingham trams. That sounds reasonable. BBC switching off 10 channels for some TV boxes. A 3-week warning. Warning. How many channels have they actually got? Once prosperous seaside resort that people fear will become a ghost town as shops close. Yeah, this is a thing all over the place. We keep saying about this. Snow bomb I've already done. What's stiff person syndrome and can it be treated? Isn't that what happened when you wake up in the morning, or was that something else? I don't know. Pro-Palestinian protesters target Zara stores in London's West End. I'm all for the pro-Palestinian protesters, unless, of course, they support Hamas, in which case I'm not for them as well. Christmas travel chaos as people try to get away. There's a friend of mine who, one of his friends, was trying to get to Leeds from down south, and she'd pre-booked and reserved a seat on a train, and was told when she got to the railway station she couldn't get on the train because the train was full. Welcome to public transport, everybody. She's now stranded in a town that she doesn't live in. She managed to get from her town that she lives in to another town where she was transferring over to this train, but they wouldn't let her on the train because the train was full, even though she'd reserved a seat. Shocker. Landudno hotel with bad reviews calls in liquidators for operators trade falls. Train lines blocked, possible power cuts to travel as storm Pia hits York. That was 2 days ago. That's not breaking news. Labour wins third by-election in the space of a month by just 5 votes. That's why your vote is so important. Deal to take over shopping town said completed ahead of transformation. And millions of savers await outcome as Coventry Building Society and Co-op in talks over possibly merging, which could be interesting. Anyway, let's see who's on and been chatting. Smiley Mac, Merry Christmas to you. Marcus Legend, I'm good, thank you, Marcus. Hope you're good as well. Angela, hello, Merry Christmas to you. And Silence. Silence is just running around like a loon. I've changed her food, she's now on Whiskers, and it's sent her loopy. Merry Christmas Eve Eve. Yes, Luke, it is Christmas Eve Eve. And it's next week, what a Christmas instead. No, it's going to be what a week that was, obviously. And Lainey, hiya, season's greetings, everybody. Oh, season's greetings, we're going very posh. Well, season's greetings, everybody. Yeah, well, it's greetings of this season for everyone. Anyway. That was the breaking news. Oh, the cat was behind me, I didn't know. Sorry, she's fine. So this is the... I'm going to do just the week's news. The week's news. There you go. So, the week's news has been dominated by news this week. It's unusual. I enjoyed your live drive the other day. Oh, thank you, Marcus. I don't know which one that was. Oh, it'd be Stalybridge, either there or back or both. So, we are going to do the week's news. Now, I've not written as much as I normally do, mainly because I've been busy. It's been late night shopping all week. The irony being that no one really come late night shopping, but you can't not be there just in case someone comes in and wants to spend a lot of cash. Good news is that we've done it all right this week. So Sunday, Baroness Moran admits she lied over involvement of the PPE company, which got a grant off the government, and she made millions and millions of pounds of profit. But she said she did that to protect her family. She did it in an interview very similar to Prince Andrew. To be fair, and Prince Harry, and also very similar to Major Tom's daughter and son-in-law. I.e., why the fuck would you do that? Because let's be honest, those interviews just make you look more guilty, more stupid than anything. You think when people watch the Prince Andrew one, and even the Princess Diana one back in the day, that they would think that. Anyway, she's admitted now that she lied, but it was to protect her family, so that's alright. Hi everyone, I can't say tonight, I'm a big boxing fan. It's a big night for boxing, been waiting for this for ages. I've even found a work quiet even though it was Friday. Yeah, it was meant to be, is it Super Friday or Silly Friday or some kind of Friday, and yeah, it was very, very quiet apparently, because the guy who helps me out at the weekend, he has a job in a bar, and they were expecting it to be rammed last night, and it wasn't. It was just fairly quiet. The funeral was held for one of the Jews killed by accident by the one of the Jews killed by accident in Palestine, as the Israelis continue their ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip, and reported less, but it's going on in the West Bank as well. Meanwhile, what limited aid is coming in is mobbed by Palestinians who are literally starving to death, because this is ethnic cleansing. What Israel is doing now is basically very similar to what other people do when they want to get rid of an entire population of people, and instead of using trains, they are using leaflets to tell people where to go, and then they are just basically taking over the rest of the country when everyone moves out and killing whoever's there, because America backs them, because America is complicit to this kind of thing. Thoughts, please. Just wanted to wish everyone a very happy Christmas, all the way best for New Year. I'll be back before New Year. I'll be back. I might even be back later on tonight, because there's a call on the telly. So I might be back in a bit. Just realised you can't see me arm. I'm going to say Merry Christmas to everyone, even though I'm talking about death and destruction. It's the news, though, what can you do? Monday, the 18th of December 2023. More fallout from the Baroness's interview over the PPE. Yeah, it's just got to go on and on, that, isn't it? BP suspends travelling through the Red Sea due to safety issues for its tankers and its workers as well, which means that the oil now and everything will have to come round the Cape of Good Hope, I think it is, which is in South Africa, which is a very dangerous route. And the Prime Minister finally says too many civilians or innocents are being killed in Gaza, but still does nothing about it. The UN on Monday were meant to have a vote on it, but it was put back because the United States of America are absolute soft arses and lick the arse of the Israel. So yeah, didn't happen. Everyone say Merry Christmas to each other still. So we'll go in. Tuesday, Zelensky says they are not lost the war, and Putin says we will not give up what is ours. So they are determined to keep what they've already gained in Ukraine, and obviously keep Crimea as well, which is they've had for a while. It wasn't Zelensky who was president at the time though, and they got that fairly easily. Can you imagine if Zelensky had been prime minister or president when they took over Crimea, that would have been a different story, wouldn't it? The Iceland volcano finally erupts after weeks and thousands of earthquakes. The town of Volgat is practically destroyed. And the thing with volcanoes in Iceland is, I mean, they are beautiful things, especially at night. But I remember when I was a kid, there was a volcano, be that the 70s or 80s, that went off, and there were like people's houses on the hill, and in the background, it didn't look that far away, on the hill, there was this line of lava just going up. It was like a curtain of lava just going up and dropping down again. Whereas volcanoes in other parts of the world, like we saw in Hawaii and around Indonesia and all those places as well, they're more of a volcano that comes straight up in a funnel and then spurts out oil and magma and dust and ash everywhere. But the ones in Iceland are very beautiful and very sedate and quite nice, and I do like them. But I'm not going to look at them because I don't have a passport, and I think it'd be dangerous to do that anyway. Teachers should inform parents if child changes gender. Now, basically what this means is there's been advice given to the government telling them that teachers must inform parents if their child decides to change their gender while at school. So if a little boy decides he wants to be referred to as a she, her, then the parents have to be consulted, unless there's a strong possibility that the child could be in danger from the parents for such a thing. But I don't think it's up to the schools to decide. I don't think it's up to the governments to decide. I think it's up to the parents to decide the gender of their child. And yes, I know that's controversial. We've had many arguments about this in the past with various people in the chat room. But I think anyone who messes with a child's gender is a paedophile. End of. If you give them advice, tell them to change the gender. If you give them drugs that tell them to change the gender. If you brainwash kids into saying that they should change the gender if they don't feel normal, then you are a paedophile. It is no different from kiddie fiddling. Absolutely disgusting and shouldn't be allowed. If they're 16, 18, 21, then yep, fair enough. They can decide what they want to do with their own lives. But anything under that, and no, it's just not right, basically. You can't have a tattoo, can you, until you're 18. So how can you change your gender when you're 12 and have puberty blockers? Absolute joke. Anyway, the government seems to be coming around to it now. The government seems to be coming around to quite a few things at the minute. What worries me is they might come around to these things and then Labour get in and decide that, no, we want to be all woke again, which is on the W. Oh, people are drinking now. I'm drinking Fanta as I don't drink alcohol, says Angela O'Kane. And Laney's on the whiskey. And I'm on the Guinness, as is the usual. Right then, that brings us to Wednesday. And the UN delays again, for the third day in a row, the vote on suspension of fighting in Gaza because America would veto it or would vote against it. Hamas say now over 20,000 people have died since the 9th of October in the invasion and the bombing, illegal bombing as far as I'm concerned, of domestic homes and everything. You want to get rid of Hamas? Fine, crack on, get rid of Hamas. But do not be killing children and old people and people who are not in Hamas. Just civilians going around their normal business. Absolute disgrace. America is complicit and is guilty as Israel, I've written, and I still stand by that. As I've said before, if you're in a group of people and one person in your group attacks someone else, could be someone in the group, or it could be a complete stranger or just someone who they take offence to, and that person ends up getting killed, then you are all complicit because you didn't try and stop it, and therefore you're complicit with the either murder or the manslaughter of whomever that person did. So what's the difference when Israel is going around illegitimately killing innocent people on the thing of saying, oh well, we're trying to get rid of Hamas, there's going to be a few, you know, a few casualties, a few civilian casualties, you know. No, there isn't. There shouldn't be. And America are complicit to this. So as far as I'm concerned, if Israel ends up going into war crime tribunals and stuff like that, America should go there as well. And to be fair, the UK government, mind you, they're both as guilty as hell for what they did in the Gulf War some years ago. So yeah, do as I say, not as I do, I suppose. But then they're doing this. Anyone would. It was Christmas soon. Oh wait, it is. It is Christmas soon. Two teens were found guilty of killing Brianna, and they're going to be named next month when they are sentenced. Now these are two 15-year-olds at the time who stabbed 30 odd times a transgender Brianna. I think was also 15 at the time, by basically trapping her in a park where there wasn't many people around and stabbing her to get death. And apparently they've been planning this for a while and discussing it, and even books and literature was found in, I think, the girls' bedroom, describing how to do it and how they would feel about doing it. So if it's manslaughter or, you know, sudden act, then I don't think you should name children. But if they go to this amount of effort to do it and carry it out, then I think they should be named. And I don't think they should have their names changed if they ever get released. Look at Venables. He's been released from prison. He's the guy who killed Jamie Bulger, the 2-year-old, when he was 10. And they've changed the name and the identity to protect them. And he's been in and out of prison for child sex photographs and images on his computers, etc. Ever since. The other one, he's hopefully living a normal life, but Venables, no. We should find out their new name, and we should find out what they look like as well, because you obviously don't learn from your lessons. And I agree that these two should be named for what they've done. Inflation fell faster than expected to 3.9%, but it's more to do with fuel coming down rather than anything else. Because if you've been to a supermarket lately, you'll notice that things are still going up rapido-like, and I think we should be inquiring into that as well, because I'm pretty sure that supermarkets are taking advantage of the situation by hiking prices more than they need to, and it'll be interesting to see what profits they have when they release them over the next few months, because I would imagine they're going to be sky high. Oh, the spoilt brats, junior doctors, have started a 3-day strike. This was on Wednesday. So yeah, you know, the spoilt brats who are the doctors who've decided that, you know, they want more money, they want a 35% pay rise, and they're going to strike until they get it, are repeatedly striking. Have been doing it for over a year now. They've had a pay rise. Okay, it's not 35%, but they've been giving it. And they're already getting more money than they were getting before they started this, but they want 35% because they are spoilt brats. Now, if you've joined a profession just to get the money out of it, rather than doing it for the reason that I think most people do it, yeah, the money's always a bonus, but people do it to help people and look after people, like nurses and doctors and things like that. And you're just doing it for the money, and you're going on strike because you ain't get 35%, and you spat your dummy out. No sympathy with you whatsoever. I think you're just sick. Trump rule investigating to be president. Trump is trying to find out if he can still be president even if he's been blocked from standing as president, because it's Donald Trump. That's what he does. Thursday, there was a mass shooting in Prague. 14 people dead. It was at the University of Prague, and it was one of the students who apparently murdered his father earlier on that day, and is alleged to have murdered a young man and his 3-month-old baby a few days earlier. He shot himself on the roof, and police are trying to figure out what went on and what he did and why he did it. But gun laws in Czechoslovakia are actually quite good. It's not like America where they have shootings every 30 seconds. This is the worst mass shooting in the history of Czechoslovakia. That's how bad it is. And I say only, but 14 people died. And that is the worst one in their history. Marcus Legend, same with train drivers. Oh, the spoilt brat thing, yeah. I told you this story before, but one of my mates, he got a job as a policeman, and he was a high-speed police officer and all that, youngish, but, you know, capable. And don't see him regularly because don't live local and we don't communicate, but every now and then we'll catch up, like, you know, once every 6 months or every 12 months or whatever. And he got in touch with me a few years ago and said, oh yeah, I'm not in the police anymore now. And I went, all right, what are you doing now? He says, I'm a train driver. And I went, eh? What do you mean you're a train driver? He says, I drive trains. I said, yeah, I know what it means, but why have you stopped being a police officer? Now you're a train driver. And he was honest with me. He said, it's more money, better hours, and less dangerous. So I'm like, yeah, fair enough, makes sense. But he's also been on strike as well for more money. Although now he's got a different job within it, and I don't think he's actually a train driver anymore. And I think he now works at one of the offices that organise trains and things like that. Eurotunnel workers in France go on strike, causing massive amounts of tailbacks through the Eurostar and causing problems at various railway stations at both ends. It also meant as well that there'd be few people who wouldn't be able to get back from France to the UK, and one imagines from the UK to France to visit family for Christmas, because all the seats have been booked for forthcoming train trips, because obviously it's the busiest time of year, and you won't be able to get a ticket. And if your train got cancelled because of these strikes, then I think you're staying where you are, which brings me back to what I was talking about earlier on about the young lady who's trying to get home to Leeds and booked a ticket on British Railways and then got told that she couldn't get on the train because it was busy, even though she pre-booked and reserved a seat. Friday, the 22nd of December 2023. Resolution for more Gaza aid by the UN, but there was no call for ceasefire or reduction in the fighting due to the United States mainly, who are being complicit again with what Israel is doing to innocent people in Gaza. Hamas deserve everything and get the terrorists, they deserve to be obliterated, but all they're doing is they're making young children into orphans, they are scarring them, they are disabling them, they are killing them along with their mothers, grandmothers, legitimate civilian parents, etc. And they are just creating the next Hamas. So you might destroy Hamas, but you're just going to make it a lot worse for yourselves in the future. But Benjamin Netanyahu is an absolute tyrant, and he's no better than some of the other people who are ruling countries around the world. And I'd even say he's possibly even a bit worse than Putin at the moment with what he's doing. Anyway, that's the story for every week, sadly. GDP down by 0.1%. Is the recession company. Now GDP is production of stuff. Now we don't make stuff anymore because China has very carefully and very thoughtfully removed all the need for us making anything. So all we've got really now is service things, so like pubs, restaurants, things like that, but they're all shutting down as well. Shops, they're all shutting down. So yeah, it's not good. Will we get a recession out of it? We may do. If we do get a recession, one hopes it's not as bad as previous ones, but it's all down to what's been going on for the last many decades. It's not just the last decade and a half, it's literally the last 30 odd years things have been going wrong. Alex Batty gives the Sun an interview. Now Alex Batty was the 11-year-old boy who disappeared on a holiday with his mum and his grandfather when they went to Europe. I think it was France they went to. Neither of them were legitimate guardians of him, but they've been allowed to take him out of the country, so I think things need to be looked into on that one. Anyway, they then took him away, and for 6 years he'd lived apparently in different communes and things like that around various parts of Spain, France, and he's had enough. He's now 17, so he's basically walked for 4 days, got found by a truck driver, a van driver in France, taken to a police station, and has now been reunited with his legal guardian, which is his grandmother, in Oldham, which is literally around the corner from here. So he's given a couple of interviews. Does look like a very scarred young man, which is a shame. Definitely going to have a recession, says Jimmy Jackson. Yeah, I think the world's about to go into recession. I think it's just inevitable with what's been going on. I think it's still the aftermath of what went on with COVID, and although it's easy with hindsight to criticise governments around the world, as you see, we do look at other governments as well. It's the aftermath of it is going to be felt for quite a long while to come. Not just the amount of money we have to pay back in loans and everything, but I think just in general. So yeah, the world is definitely heading towards something unpleasant financially, but hopefully it'll be a blip rather than a full-on recession, because I remember when I first signed for a shop and decided to leave my job I had, which I thought was a fairly secure job. Turned out the company went bust 2 weeks after I'd left. It wasn't as secure as I thought. But the day after I signed the lease, we went from a credit crunch into a full-blown recession, and it was one of the worst recessions in history. Anyway, 15 years later, I'm still going. Skin of teeth, less than skin of teeth. A couple of, one visit to a motorway bridge at 3 o'clock in the morning a good few years ago, in desperation. So yeah, hopefully this one won't be as bad as that one was, but we will see. But I think it's going to be a world one, because the American and other European economies are not doing as well as people thought they were doing. I mean, everyone kind of manipulates figures to make them look better than they are. You can do that with anything. One of the best examples I ever saw, and I've mentioned this before, was when Alex Albon, Lando Norris and George Russell, Formula One drivers, had their first season, and George Russell was in the Williams car, which was crap. Whereas the the McLaren car was actually quite good. So it would do well in qualifying, but would then slip back. And they did this thing where they were doing the statistics, who was the best driver. And George Russell said, well, I was the best driver because in the first 5 laps during the entire season, so the first 5 laps of each race, I overtook more cars than anyone else. And Lando was the worst because he got overtaken by more cars than anyone else. But the fact was, Lando was further up the grid and always finished higher than George Russell. But the other fact was that George Russell, in a crappy Williams, it's much better now, and he's now in Mercedes obviously, but in a crappy Williams, did overtake more cars. So you can manipulate the statistics to do what you want. Anyway, they've been corrected now, and yeah, we've gone down to 0.1%. President Macron of France was criticised for supporting Gerard Depardieu over sexual assault claims, including rape and various other claims that have been made against him. Macron basically said that he's a national hero and he doesn't believe that anything like that would happen. It's not his place to say that. It's up to the courts and government and jury, if it ever goes to trial, the police, the gendarme, and all that to sort that out. And it's not up for a politician to actually get their opinions across, because that could influence, if it was a criminal case at some point in the future, in both ways. It could, if he is innocent and he could get found guilty because people don't agree with Macron and think, well, if Macron said that, then he must be lying. Or the other way around, he might be guilty and he gets let off because people love and trust Macron, although we all know they don't. 39 years after it was first released on Friday. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you said you were gay. Has got to number 1. 39 years since that song came out, and it's been many years since George died. Anyway, they wheeled out Andrew Ridgeley. He looks about 98 now, and he said that George would be proud that it finally made it to number 1. He wouldn't care how long it took. I think he'd be a bit stuffed that it happened after he died. But yeah, 39 years from Last Christmas coming out, and it's finally reached number 1 for Christmas. It has been number 1 before, but not in Christmas. John Gaskill, spoke to you in your shop today. Great shop, thank you. It's a work in progress still, yeah. Definitely a work in progress, but it's getting there. Brings us to Saturday. Israel says it's interrogating hundreds of Hamas people, and what's the other one as well? I can never remember the name of the other one. Hezbollah, I think it is. Hundreds of them. Yeah. That's where all these people have disappeared from. There was a BBC cameraman who was fleeing with his family. He was a native of Gaza, and he's claimed that he saw men in their underwear, stripped of their underwear, be taken out of sight by armed soldiers, and then he heard gunshots. Couldn't confirm whether or not these people had been shot, but the soldiers came back without any of the men who were in their underwear. So yeah, no war crimes being committed by Israel, because if there was, then America wouldn't support them, would they? Yeah, right. And also today, a 4-year-old who was stabbed to death His mother has been arrested, questioned and possibly charged with his murder, which is horrific. What drives people to do that to their own child? It beggars belief. Anyway, the good news is that is it for the week's news. But we've got a bit of American news. We didn't do American news last week because, well, basically I was just too busy. I didn't have time to get around to it. But this week we've got some American news. And all being well, there's no shootings because I'm ignoring shootings in America at the minute because there's just too many of them. Gaza hospital chief admits that... Gaza hospital chief admits to being Hamas commander and uses a clinic as a military base. The head of a Gaza hospital has admitted to being a senior Hamas commander and detailed how the terror group transformed the medical site into an operational hub that once housed a kidnapped Israeli soldier. Hamed Kalot, director of Kamal Adwan Hospital in Jubilah, made his taped confession to the Israeli security services. Well, there you go then. It must be true, mustn't it? Because Israel have filmed a guy who's probably got guns pointing at him confessing to stuff. Because that's legit, isn't it? I'm not saying the guy hasn't done this, but it's always a bit suspect, isn't it? Because they haven't proved any of these tunnels, if you remember, that were underneath that hospital that they kept bombing. No, we saw a couple of shafts, that was it. US babies increasingly getting tissue sliced off around tongues for breastfeeding, but critics call it a money grab. Now, I've never heard of this before. It sounds horrendous. Dentists and midwives across the US have been increasingly slicing off tissue around babies' tongues to make breastfeeding easier, but some critics claim the surgery is nothing but a dangerous money grab. The practice, known as tongue tie surgery, involves using a laser to burn off excessive tissue under the tongue or webbing that connects the lips and cheeks. That's child abuse in my eyes. I mean, let's be honest. Humanity's been around for a few thousand years. Maybe a few 100,000 years. In fact, mammals have been around for possibly hundreds of thousands of years. So, don't they think that we've actually figured out that babies and breastfeeding can do without any laser surgery in the mouth? Definitely a cash grab, and anyone who does it, as far as I'm concerned, should be charged with child abuse. A dog successfully sues abusive owner after vicious beating. I was talking with the dog's teeth in then, I do apologise. A dog successfully sues abusive owner after vicious beating. You're like, what? Every dog has its day in court. A pooch in Brazil successfully sued its owner after the brute was caught on camera beating the dog with a stick. After the disturbing footage came to light, an animal rights group called Fana Group for the Protection of Animals rescued the dog from his owner, who was arrested for the abuse, according to CEN. Lawyers for the group then reportedly took the unusual step of filing a lawsuit against the suspect on behalf of the dog named Tokino. You can be sued by your own animals, although technically you're caring for them, you don't own them. Scientific breakthrough of human to whale conversation could lead to alien contact. I'm going to scream bullshit, because let's be honest, there's no aliens. NASA releases new image of Uranus, offering a glimpse of one rarely seen feature. No, it's not a Klingon, before you ask, because technically they're aliens and technically they're sci-fi, they don't exist. So it's not a picture of a Klingon around Uranus. Stunning new images released by NASA on this week detailed new images of Uranus, revealing a stunning look at its glowing rings and one rarely seen feature. I know it's Uranus, we don't say Uranus anymore, but that's not funny. The photos taken by NASA's high-powered James Webb Space Telescope captured the icy planet along with its multiple inner and outer rings, 9 of its 27 known moons and a seasonal polar cap. The new pictures offers a rare glimpse of the elusive Zeta ring. Yes, NASA finally took a picture of Uranus and showed something that is rarely seen. Should wipe your bum properly, that's all I'm saying. Texas community mistakes elaborate Christmas light show for aliens landing UFO. His Christmas spirit is out of this world. A Texas man routinely draws a crowd of onlookers to his home holidays light show spectacular. Though half of the viewers expected to find aliens at the source. Chris Hargreaves decked out his house with a massive Santa Claus, holiday music, and most importantly, 13,000 lights that stretch across the night sky and look eerily like UFOs hovering over Georgetown. No, they don't look like 13,000 lights that stretch across the night sky and look eerily like UFOs hovering over Georgetown. How can anything look eerily like anything that doesn't exist? Hashtag just saying. And millennials most prone to phone-related accidents as tech injuries jumped 20% since 2020, study finds. Hey, millennials, look up. Phone-related accidents are on the rise, a new study found, and millennials suffer the most injuries. The generation most associated with financial struggles appears to be turning to their cell phones for an escape so intensely that they forget where they are in the physical world, according to a survey. We've all seen that, haven't we? Where people are on the phone and they walk into things, or they nearly walk into people and all that kind of stuff. It's quite scary, really. I even talked about it the other month, I think, in my paper column, where I nearly got run over by a electric car because I didn't hear it coming. And I even said then, I'm not one of these people who's like a walking zombie with headphones in or staring at my phone screen. I'm actually aware of what's going on around me, and I still nearly got hit by a car. And then I also wrote about the new fangled thing that the kids have come up with, which is called quiet walking or silent walking, and that's where you walk without listening to music or anything like that, or being distracted by your phone. It's a revelation. I don't know however I managed without silent walking when I was oh yeah. A new Banksy appears in London and then gets stolen less than an hour after it was put up. Pardon me. A new Banksy featuring 3 military drones on a stop sign appeared to be stolen in plain sight yesterday, less than an hour after the incognito artist revealed it. Two unidentified men were pictured blatantly using bolt cutters to break the latest artwork off a traffic post in Peckham in South London. Footage from the scene shows one of the men was spotted balancing on top of a rented bike so he could reach. Yeah, basically. Now, Banksy does a lot in Israel, doesn't he? And you're like, is he Jewish? Is he Palestinian? Because no one really knows who he is. But I like the sentiment of the drones, and it's saying stop. So yeah. Anyway, was this another stunt like the one? Remember when they sold the painting and then it got for $1 million or whatever, and it got shredded as soon as the hammer went down, and then it ended up being worth even more. Weird things happen occasionally. Red-robed Russian Santa Claus plunges to death in botched stunt as wife and kids look on. A man dressed in a red robe to look like the Russian version of Santa Claus fell to his death from a high rise in a botched stunt in front of horrified onlookers, including his wife and kids. The unidentified climber was attempting to rappel down the side of a 24-storey residential building to delight a crowd below when he lost his grip. It's a tragic, awful story, but it also makes you wonder if one of Putin's cronies was up there with a pair of scissors, because let's be honest, that's how Putin gets rid of people who've upset him. We need to find out who this guy is and see if he's upset Putin. But horrific to happen in front of his family and children. I'm not making light of it at all. Catholic Women's College reverses decision to allow transgender applicants. We lost people's trust. Yes, you did. It's, as I've said before, if you want to be transgender, that's fine as long as you're of legal age to be able to make that decision. Absolutely fine, 100%. You want to be that, that's fine. But don't get expected to be treated like a biological woman, because if you were born a biological man and your bones are dug up in 3,000 years' time, you'll be identified as a biological man. Um, so you are not a woman. And I agree that, transgender people should be allowed to live the life they want to live, but I don't agree that they should be automatically assumed to have a gender that is the one they were not born with. What you could do is you could have the transgender as another gender, because it is, and then treat them individually. So, like you have these transgender women who are winning cycling races and smashing world records because they're born a man. Of course they are going to do that. And another example would be when the Americans women's soccer team played some college players, some men, young men, boys, and got beat by them because it's just biology. So by all means be transgender, but don't expect to be able to compete or live in the vicinity of women. You've got to protect the women's rights as well. And if they're not comfortable with it, then why should they have to bend backwards for people who choose to be what they want to be? That's fair play to them, but don't make everyone else join in and pretend it's fine that you can do everything that women can do. I mean, I'd feel uncomfortable if a transgender woman, transgender man was in a changing room I was in. I would feel uncomfortable, not for myself particularly, but for the fact that there's basically a biological woman in the same area as me, even if they are trans, if you get my drift. I think I've got a little bit off piste with this one, but I know what I mean, and hopefully you do as well. Anyway, the Catholic school college has woken up. A woman killed by falling 66-foot Christmas tree in Belgian Market Square. A woman was killed and 2 people were injured by a large Christmas tree that fell over during stormy weather in the Belgian city of Oudenaarde, according to authorities said on Friday. Security camera footage on Belgium news media showed a brightly lit 66-foot high Christmas tree slowly leaning over and then collapsing next to a Christmas market. Yeah, horrible. But the weather has been bloody ridiculous, wind-wise and rain-wise, and I think it was the Norwegians who named this last storm. I think it was Pia or something like that. And I'll be honest with you, definitely felt it. It's definitely a windy one. The smell of women's tears make men less aggressive, says a remarkable study. Read it and weep. Men are less aggressive after smelling women's tears, according to study findings published in PLOS Biology. The research carried out by the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel found that human tears contain a chemical signal that reduces activity in 2 aggression-related brain regions. When researchers sought volunteers for the study, mostly women raised their hands. But if I was being abused by someone in any way, shape or form and I started crying, I wouldn't want that abuser to come and smell my tears to calm them down a bit. I don't really see what use that study has, unless you just, every time you cry you put it in a spray bottle and then just spray it in the face. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that information. Oh, come here and smell my tears and then you can stop beating me. No. Woman handcuffs herself to subway seat, leaving even the most jaded New Yorkers perplexed. If you look carefully, she's handcuffed herself to the barrier or the handrail of the seat. A woman got aboard an Uptown F train, sat down, handcuffed herself to the handrail and casually proceeded to scroll through her phone, leaving hundreds of social media users baffled and hoping she didn't throw away the key. A fellow passenger snapped a photo before getting off at 42nd Street and submitted it to the Instagram account New Yorkers. Why would you do that? I don't know. I mean, probably to stop her being removed from the train, but I don't get the logic of that, because like someone said there, if she forgets her key or something, or if she drops the key, or someone steals a bag with a key in it, or someone steals a phone, she can't get up to retrieve it. So I don't really see what the point of that was. But anyway, as long as she's happy, that's all that matters. This is today. Israeli strike kills 76 members in one Gaza family. Rescue officials say as combat expands in the south. Remember what I said before? All the Palestinians have been told to move south because it's safer there, and now they're being bombed and killed there. And I said before, what is the difference between using trains to transport people to their death or sending leaflets and making them make their own way to their own death? It's exactly the same as far as I'm concerned. It is genocide. It's murder. It's war crimes. It's ethnic cleansing. It's horrific, and America are supporting them. An Israeli airstrike killed 76 members of an extended family, rescue officials said on Saturday, the day after the UN chief warned against, again, that nowhere is safe in Gaza, and that Israel's ongoing offensive is creating massive obstacles to the distribution of humanitarian aid. The problem you've got is now that Israel is saying that they won't go into ceasefire talks unless Hamas release all the hostages that they've got. And apparently they've got over 100, assuming that the Israelis haven't killed them all like they were doing last week. And you think, yeah, but if this is what they're doing when Hamas have allegedly got 100 hostages, what would Israel do if Hamas had no hostages? Again, are they not making it worse for themselves by creating this terror in the general population, 90% of whom are completely innocent of this? I'd say over 90% of whom are completely innocent of this, but are still being murdered by Israel. Think about it. Have we got any chat going on? No, we haven't got any chat going on. So yeah, it's shocking what is going on, and I think the UN's woke up to it, but I'm not sure about anyone else. Meanwhile, Biden repeats the same story, word for word, just minutes apart, raising fresh concerns about age and fitness for office. Who knew? Who knew? Apart from everyone who looks at Biden, I'll be honest. That was American news, which takes us to the land down under. Do you come from the land down under, where women glow and men thunder? Can you hear that thunder? You better run, you better take cover. It's a bit more light-hearted, this bit, so put me hat on. You were biding your time with that joke. Thank you, Luke. Very good indeed. Glad you got it. Right then. So, we're in Australia, mate. Christmas time is often labelled as the season for telling someone how you feel. But for one unlucky car owner, a mysterious card has left them with a few questions. And it's basically what looks like a tax disc. I don't know why they still have them in Australia, but that's what we used to have in our cars over here, like a tax disc thing. Although I think, to be fair, it's not actually round. I think it's just been cropped to be round. But either way, it says you park badly and you should feel bad. Get a bike or get every other public transport. A beloved Christmas tradition is being canned. It's a thing of the past. A festive tradition between locals and their garbage collectors is being canned. Beers for Garbos was a way for residents to give thanks to workers by leaving a six-pack of beer on top of their wheelie bins. But nowadays people are not doing it anymore, because by the time they get to the end of the round they're all smashed out the skull. No, they used to do it when I was a kid, but when I was a kid the bin men actually picked up a metal bin which had no bin bag in it, carried it to the bin lorry and physically emptied it into the bin and then carried it back again, and they were covered in slime and smelly stuff and everything. So people used to give them beers and stuff like that at Christmas as a way of saying thank you, because imagine that job would be terrible in the summer. But anyway, in Australia, mate, they're actually starting it, insured by Sheila's Wheels. Yes. Friday, as in yesterday, will be Australia's longest day of the year, because you've got to remember that it works both ways. So yesterday was the shortest day of the year for the United Kingdom and Europe and the Northern Hemisphere, but it's also the longest day in Australia, mate. It's the summer solstice is occurring at 4:50 p.m. AEST. This will be the moment the Earth's south pole reaches its furthest tilt away from the sun. Because, as you know, the Earth doesn't spin like that; it spins like that. Not like that. You did know that, didn't you? Tell me you knew that. Please tell me you knew that. I was talking about the volcano in Iceland, and there's a picture of it. There's some lava there flowing, but not as aggressive as like in Hawaii or places like that. And you can see there you've got this line that's split through the crust, so you get this curtain of lava coming up. I think that's photos actually taken very close, but some of the curtains of lava could be 20, 30, 40 meters high. It is spectacular. Woolworths pulled Jaffas from the shelves, and we're like, oh my god, no, not Jaffa cakes. But no, it's iconic red balls have taken a major blow. In a sweet blow for lovers of Allen's Jaffas, the Aussie favourite has secretly departed aisles, leaving customers in an outcry. But fear not, the red treat can still be picked up in select supermarkets, with Woolworths confirming they will still be available at Big W and Coles. Whew, panic over. But the good news is, it's got nothing to do with Jaffa cakes, because I do like a Jaffa cake, I'll be honest with you. Especially the cherry Jaffa cakes, they're my current favourites. Which, I know, Jaffa cherries. Yeah. Donald Trump declared ineligible for presidency in one of the states, and that's what I was talking about earlier on, but he's looking into overriding it because he's rich and he can do that. Petrol prices to fall ahead of Christmas in Australia. The problem we've got is I don't think it will here, because as I said earlier on, BP are now having to sort out a new route to get the oil to Europe and everywhere else, which is longer, further away, and it's going to it's more expensive, isn't it? It's just going to be more expensive, and that's because the ships are being attacked when they go past Sudan. And that is it for Australian news, which brings us to and finally, mate. I don't mind doing a really crap Australian accent, it's nothing to do with that. This is a fantastic picture. I'm going to make it bigger so you can see. But that is a wave that is going through a cloud. Now, either the wave is ridiculously high, and it does look like a massive wave, or the clouds are ridiculously low. Either way, that is a spectacular photograph, and yeah, it's actually a video. I've actually cropped it there to get that image of the, but you actually see the wave going through the cloud and the cloud swirling around as well. It's amazing, it really is. Nature is a wonderful thing, except when it's rubbish. As I said before, there's only one sport I follow, and that's Formula 1. F1 announces it's cancelling the 2024 season and crowning Max Verstappen as champion right now. We're hoping the extra year off allows McLaren and Ferrari to get their shit together, states one official. Obviously it's a meme, it's not real. As is this, but this is genius. Still confused as to why I need to put my cake in the oven at 120 degrees. I'll let you figure that one out yourselves. Hopefully you got it. Now remember when footballers used to take the knee? Well, now we've got, is it a cricketer? 2 cricket fans have been kicked out of the Optus Stadium for displaying a banner which says all lives are equal, freedom is a human right written on it. And one of the cricket players has actually got it on his shoe as well. All lives are equal. Which is a fact. Banksy, not the one you're thinking of. This is a young boy dressed a little bit like Bart Simpson, saying, "I must not copy what I see on The Simpsons," multiple times on a blackboard. And this is a good picture as well. You know, when you're, 17 to, well, probably nowadays 14, 13 even, to, 30, you think you're the coolest looking guy in town. Um, yeah, you think you're a young Liam Gallagher, or was that Noel Gallagher? I never know the difference. But no, you actually look like. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. We've all been there. We've all done that. Sad news. Mo Moreland has died. She was the one of the oh God, what were they called on the Les Dawson show? Um, they were the dancers because at the time when Les Dawson was had his TV shows and everything, it was a time where a lot of women were picked to dress sexily and show off their sexy bodies and everything on TV, dancing in the background of celebrities and stars and things. Roly polies, and Les Dawson had the roly polies, which was basically a load of middle-aged, moderately overweight ladies. They won't mind me saying that. Dancing very badly in the background whenever he was doing something like singing a song or playing a piano or had a guest or something like that. And the leader of the roly polies was Maura Moreland, not to be mistaken with Moreland. No, what was that politician who got dragged? Roly polies, yeah, Roly polies, Laney, that's the one. Anyway, she sadly passed away at the age of 87, but good age to be fair. And I was surprised when I found she'd passed away because I assumed she'd have passed away years ago, but there you go. Met Office issues 600-mile danger to life warning to most of UK. The Met Office has issued a weather warning covering most of the UK, which will come into force later this week and could pose a danger to life. See which areas are affected. So Merry Christmas everybody. We're all going to die. Grinch for hire mortifies mum after absolutely trashing family home for £85. Mum Lauren McGill was left regretting the hiring of a bloke dressed up as fictional Dr. Seuss character the Grinch after he wreaked havoc in her home by chucking her buffet all over the shop. What do you expect if you have someone coming in dressed as a Grinch who's going to trash your house? What do you expect them to do? Oh yeah, trash your house. To be fair, it sounds like a good way of making money, that. It's like you wouldn't go out and hire Mr. Blobby, would you? And have him come round to your children's party because you'd probably crush about 3 of them and there'd be ambulances queued up outside your house. And the house would probably burn down as well. So yeah, I think you brought that on yourself. This is it, Santaland's office. A desert town named Santa Claus went from festive wonderland to snake-filled ruins. The town of Santa Claus, Arizona, was once a festive wonderland where kids could visit Father Christmas in the desert all year round. But it eventually became an eerie ghost town. I wonder why. I imagine all the Father Christmases died because they have to wear the big coat and everything, and they're in a fucking desert. Lettuce Liz Truss tone deaf Christmas message as Brits saying cough. Former PM Liz Truss has braved the internet to wish a Merry Christmas to the British public still suffering from the effects of her disastrous premiership that failed to outlast the Daily Star's lettuce. Yeah, and like I said, if Sir Keir Starmer gets in, we're all doomed anyway. But we can do the same again. We'll get a lettuce, but just pour some water on it, and then we've got Keir Starmer. COVID morphed into stomach bug as experts fear it's targeting people's guts because it has a conscience? No. As COVID numbers rise, some experts have feared that the virus could be targeting a new part of the body based on data gathered from vile wastewater collected from the infected. Now, if you remember, I was unwell a couple of weeks ago, very unwell, in the vile wastewater area. Out of my Uranus, and yes, it was it COVID? It only lasted for 24 hours, so I can't see it being. But yeah, I was violently ill for a while, but I'm not the reason why people have got it. AI shows what Santa Claus would look like today, and people have said he looks like a drug dealer. Now, I don't know many drug dealers. No, I know one. For too long, our images of Father Christmas have been trapped in Victorian sketches, but fear not, for your Daily Star is at hand to bring the world's most generous bloke in a modern facelift. So that's what Santa Claus would look like if we were inventing him now. He'd have a red leather jacket on, he'd have cool shades on, and he'd have a white beard. Lovely. I wouldn't get anyone sitting on his knee. Took my grandkids to see Father Christmas this week, and in the Grand Arcade, and it was an interesting experience on many levels. Least of which is neither of the kids just kind of stood and stared at him. One's 4, one's 5. Just kind of went, and he said, "What do you want for Christmas?" "I know what you want for Christmas, but I'd like you to tell me what you want for Christmas because it always makes it feel nicer." And just went, like that. And I said, "Shall we have a picture?" After about 10 minutes, "Shall we have a picture?" "Yeah, okay." So they both turned around and smiled for the camera. I'm like, okay then, very weird. Now, you know I'm a bit cynical when it comes to people taking photographs of the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot and other things, because we are in 2023. We're nearly in 2024, let's be honest. Yet the images still look like they were taken 100 years ago. Well, look at this one. Bigfoot spotted in the wild as mysterious figure caught on game camera. A creepy photograph from a game camera in Montana, US shows a mysterious figure walking in the wild at night, and some people online reckon it might be Bigfoot. To be fair, I don't think that's the image, but it's not helping the case, is it really? Let's be honest. Looks like Johnny Knoxville. Oh, that'll be for the Christmas year. Wales struck by earthquake as tremor in small village felt 2 miles away. An earthquake has hit a small town in Wales, leaving shaken residents complaining the tremor struck with a bang, and it's not the first time the country has felt the quake this year. Now, I remember an earthquake here in Wigan a good few years ago now, and it basically sounded like a lorry, a very loud lorry going past the house, but very slowly, but very loud. And everything started to shake on the mantelpiece and stuff, and I haven't got a lot of stuff to shake, but still managed to do it. It was very weird, something I've experienced before. I've slept through minor tremors before, but yeah, that one was interesting, shall we say. And you kind of felt it pass through and go past. It was very, very strange. And no, it wasn't a lorry, it was an earthquake, because it was reported in the local newspaper. And don't forget, we've got volcanoes going off here, there and everywhere, and Iceland isn't that far away to Iceland, to the UK and Wales, so it makes sense that there's earthquakes in Wales. Weather map shows 10 centimetre per hour snow bomb on course to engulf half of UK. Weather map shows a 600 kilometre wild blizzard is heading to the UK and could dump several inches of snow across one day at the start of January. See if you're likely to be impacted below. Basically clickbait. I didn't clickbait. We don't get snow in Wigan, so there's no point, is there? Every sparks Christmas chaos as Hull Street gets parcel delivery message. People were left worried that key presents for children had been lost, giving them no time to actually get hold of the gifts before Christmas Day to avoid disappointment on the big day. Basically, Every, which is the new name of Hermes, and the eye does look like someone who's got ED. A little bit limp at the end there, Ethan. They've changed the name, but they're still crap, basically. It's like, you know, you change Biden's name to Fido, but he's still crap president. Doesn't make him any better. And yeah, Every and Hermes, yeah, absolute waste of space. Which is why I very rarely, if ever, buy gifts online, because you need them to be here on a time. So I go out and buy them in persone. La personne. Former NASA scientist says aliens could have secret base beneath the ocean. There are solid scientific reasons why the pilots of UFOs visiting Earth might prefer to base themselves in the deep ocean, says former NASA researcher Kevin Kunth. I'll tell you what, Kevin Kunth, spelt K-N-U-T-H, you are a right Kunth. Talk about nonsense. Just saying. This could be good news. Universal Studios could be set to open a huge 500-acre theme park in the UK. The company behind Universal Studios has bought a 500-acre plot of land in Bedford and says it's exploring the option of building a Universal Great Britain Park and Resort. Now that could be good. Not that I watch movies or anything, but I would make the effort to go to that, I think. Inside Ruffy's Town in the UK, where the seagulls have flick knives. Now just to clarify, this is an AI generated Photoshop image. Just so, don't panic. There are a number of tough places dotted around the UK, but Grimsby is one that many often think of when pushed to give an answer. It's so rough, in fact, that it seems the seagulls are taking protective measures. Now, I said this when I went to Grimsby to do one of my walk-around videos, which was a few years ago now. And I think I even said it on the video, or I certainly said it on the vlog that week, that I was just happy to get out of there alive. Never mind get out of there without having anything stolen. I've never been anywhere where I've been so mortified and terrified of being there. It was horrendous. And then when I went to Whitby, there's a link, I thought it was really nice and lovely. But there was this weird building on a hill on the outskirts of Whitby, and it's a UK missile base, and it tracked a UFO with military chiefs baffled by unknown target. A secret investigation was launched after RAF Flyingdales near Whitby in Yorkshire detected a UFO that appeared to be in Earth's orbit before mysteriously disappearing. Either that or it were a fly on the satellite dish. I mean, anything's possible, isn't it? Vegetarians and vegans are bad for the planet. Earth could turn into uninhabitable hell in 200 years, and farts are to blame. Our belches and farts may be more than stinking up the joint as our unpleasant fumes, particularly in older people. Well, calm down a bit. Are causing damage to the planet according to a new study. Well, we all know that when we fart, it's you can light farts if you do it right. I wouldn't recommend it because people have died from doing it wrong. But you can light farts because it's basically methane. So we're trying to stop the cows farting, but there's more humans than there are cows, and every human farts, and people who are vegetarians and vegans fart considerably more because, well, they eat a lot more vegetables and stuff, so therefore they're worse for the planet than people who eat cows. So therefore all vegans should be shipped off to Mars, along with all the woke people as well. Hashtag just saying. Talking of Mars. UFOs at Christmas as aliens spotted all over the world during festive period. It seems as if Santa's not the only person coming to town over Christmas, as we look back at some of the wild sightings of UFOs and aliens over the festive period. Yeah, aliens want to celebrate Christmas with us. That's nice, isn't it? That's nice. No, it's just nonsense. It's that guy's lights in America. Teenage killer clown gangs with huge sharp teeth are terrorising a village. A group of teenagers have been causing chaos for locals in the village of Ash, near Dover, as residents say they dress as killer clowns from the hit Netflix horror show. Yeah, well, they'd be easy to spot, wouldn't they? So they just round them up. Champagne swigging Putin vows to keep confronting West until he dies. Well, that means we're safe because he's already dead, according to the Star. But now he's not. He keeps rising from the dead. UK COVID deaths surge as officials warn of variants increased immune evasion. World Health Organization officials have published a new document about the JN.1 coronavirus strain, and it makes for some very grim reading as UK death figures rise again. Well, obviously, like flu, COVID changes. So all the injections people have had over the last number of years, I didn't have any, are now out of date because the COVID has transformed again. So you're going to have to be injected again with some more injections. Enjoy that, why don't you? If I live to be 70 or whatever and it's still around, I might think about it then, but you know, not at the moment. Kim Jong-un launches low-cal beer as Dinky Despot warns people to watch their waist. Pot, kettle, black. Leader Kim Jong-un has launched a low-calorie beer to help people maintain their waistlines as citizens claim thousands of families are starving to death under his rule. Yeah, so how are they getting fat? The only people getting fat are him, so maybe he should drink his own beer and give people money or food to eat. Putin could vanish tomorrow as fears mount over Black Swan coup. The chief, with 32 years CIA experience, says Putin will stop at nothing to carry out his war, but believes his own men might turn on him or a member of the government might step in. So basically Putin's on his last warning, but bearing in mind he's been dead for over a month, I don't know what they're warning him about. Home Alone crooks. This is a scientific study on what would have happened to the people in Home Alone. Sure, there's more important things to worry about than a comedy movie for children. Home Alone crooks would have suffered ruptured testicles, melted eyes and death. Trivia fun for all the family it might be, but Home Alone has a thread of genuine violence running through it. Yes, I mean getting hit in the face by pots of paint swinging from a balcony above the stairs and then falling down onto the cars, little toy cars on the floor with your face smashed in, burning your hat with your hat thing, getting electrocuted by holding the door handle. I mean it's slapstick comedy. Don't read too much in it. Why do people have to spoil things for people? Really, seriously. Here's a warning to everyone though. Whatever you do, never, ever, ever try and eat A, B. Because otherwise you look like a right miserable Scooby-Doo. Right? The dog was alright, don't worry. It just looked like that for, I think, about 12 hours or something daft. And then finally, what a better way to end it. Putin's sex-mad gymnast lover, Alina Kabira, dances with bears in mad China vid. Russian President Vladimir Putin's long-term sex-mad lover was seen dancing with bears during a mad moment at a gymnastics tournament held in China. Why are there bears at a gymnastics tournament? Why are people dancing with them? Hopefully the bears are only like, teddy bear size. The parents would have Kevin taken away and the bandits would be dead if it was real. Yeah, exactly. And it's not real, it's a movie, it's a bit of fun. Come on, stop taking the fun out of stuff. It's my job. And that is what a week that was this week. We shall see if there is any more breaking news. Have I spelt it wrong? No, I've spelt it right, that's okay. So any more breaking news while we've been on air? Well, there's heavy rain falling in Wigan. Ooh. Oh, snow and ice warnings for UK as temperatures to plummet in Stoke-on-Trent. And that's from Stoke-on-Trent Live. Pro-Palestinian protesters, we've done that. Christmas chaos, we've done that. How long alcohol stays in your system after these popular Christmas drinks? A lot longer than you think, which is why if I know I'm going to be driving early morning, I won't drink any alcohol after 11 o'clock at night. Train operator urges people not to travel on Christmas Eve. Well, that's helpful, isn't it? Bearing in mind it's like after Christmas Eve now. John Lewis sale dates confirmed for stores and online after Boxing Day announcements. Christmas TV isn't dead, insists BBC chief amid declining viewing figures. Yeah, it is. Abandoned hospital in Kent designed to cheer up patients could be demolished. Looks quite nice actually. It could be done up as something else. And east-west rail track layering completion, but that's in Oxford, so that's not up here. That we don't care about that. What's that there? Oh, the Archers and BBC EastEnders actor Ian Pepperell has died, aged 53, following a long illness. Motorists can park outside your driveway. Here's your rights when they do. The last bank in Great Manchester Town has now become a cocktail bar. New plans for HS2 money will mean higher fares and congestion for decades. House prices plunged by a staggering £200,000 in UK's poshest seaside town. Popular retailer Sports Direct will close another branch for good within weeks. They are reorganising at the minute. And I think, oh no, it's a, Leclerc departs Ferrari as driver line up cut. I think that's Charles Leclerc's younger brother. I think he's been dropped by Ferrari because they're cutting the numbers of drivers. Tell you what, I don't know who the parents are of the Leclerc family, but they are a very good looking family. Because I've seen, I think, the sister as well, and she's... Yeah. Papa John's staff left without a month's wage as 13 stores closed. We have a Papa John's in Wigan, but that's Wales Online, so we might be alright. So that's it for breaking news. So how have we done this week? Not very well, to be fair. We've had 35 views. Average view is 14.010. It's now 10. It's now 14.10. We've got 6 concurrent viewers. We've only got 3 likes, but never mind. It's very political, this one, and I know a lot of people don't get it, but it's all part of what I does. Big shout out to Smiley Mac, Marcus Legend, Laney, Alan Barton, who's watching the boxing build-up, I would imagine. Marcus is still here. Jimmy Jackson, Jimmy Jack Jackson. It's Jack Jackson, Jimmy Jack, Jimmy Jack. It's a song by the Vapors. They're one who did Turning Japanese. They had another song called Jimmy Jones, which is brilliant. If you get a chance, listen to it. And John Gaskill as well. And then we had Luke Williams. I think I've already said Luke Williams. So yeah, that is it. So thank you very much for watching. How long have we been on for? We've been on for an hour and 17 minutes. So yeah, this is about the right length, isn't it, to be fair, to keep everyone's interest. They will be moving to Sundays in the new year because the weeks move, or the days move, or whatever. So yeah, indeed, everyone have a great Christmas. Whatever you do to celebrate or just get through the day. Remember, I will be doing a live stream in the car going to and from my mum's on Christmas Day, all being well, with Christmas dinner. And I will be possibly doing a gaming live stream tomorrow night, getting a bit drunk, and I may do one on Christmas Day night as well, because I'll be honest with you, Christmas TV is dead, so you might as well watch me play games getting drunk. So have a great Christmas. If I don't see you, if you're not into the gaming stuff, that's fine. So if I don't see you, have a great Christmas. But look after yourselves. Stay safe. I'll be seeing you until next time. Cat's going to come running upstairs now, but bye. That was a bit loud. I didn't mean to be that loud.